argument, if that's what makes progress for them. But they have no values. I mean, even I think at times I've been used by them. I've been sent on programmes to slag off Tony Blair. And at times, you know, though Blair's on their side, they keep under control, I like slagging him off. And you sort of think that they'll use anybody, even unwittingly, to put forward what they're doing. You know, if criticising Blair is what they want to do, then you'll be invited on the programme to criticise Blair. They don't have to ask me to do it. I'll go on the programme and criticise Blair because I believe it's the right thing to do. I'm also painfully aware that perhaps I might be playing into their hands sometimes. So, you know, the answers are very simple. The world is changing. We are getting more and more knowledge as well from alternative sources now. Because of the internet, we can all share information very, very quickly. That scares the hell out of them. It took about 30 years to expose the Kennedy assassination. But with 9/11, they're still pervasive now. And the fact we share this information so quickly on the internet means that we are better informed than them in many ways. And even though they produce their big multi-million-dollar films like in 1993, we were able to go onto the website for that film and bombard the forum, saying to people, look here, this is all rubbish, it's shot down. So, you know, in a sense, even though we have less money than them and so on, we have the enthusiasm to be able to stop all of this. But I say the reasons for doing it are obvious. You can see the way the world is going at the moment.
Well, one of the points I'll talk about, of course, is the American debt. I think at the last count it's about $8.5 trillion. And it's becoming so big that they cannot service it. They can't even pay the interest on the debt on a regular basis. So you have that, and then you add in the possibility of Iran trading their oil in euros. Other countries possibly following suit. I mean, you're looking at Venezuela might do that. Norway's talking about trading in euros. The Russians, I think, have already started trading in rubles. What about China? I mean, the whole thing could just go cascading down. So once you get a meltdown of the American economy, and economies are dependent on that, they are going to adopt a very strong government mentality.
Can I just say on this as well? I think this country is the battleground because obviously we are most prey to American propaganda, but we're also, considering we are so prey to the propaganda, we're also extremely resistant to it. And so I think therefore the battle of hearts and minds in this country is perhaps the most important. People in the Middle East already believe that Mossad or the New World Order carried out 9/11. People in Europe are extremely sceptical as well. And in this country, of course, people become sceptical as soon as you get the evidence in front of them.
Yeah, Ollie.
Well, what are your views on the press? Are they basically out for truth or not? Or who's in control?
Yes, the British press, British journalists are renowned for their striving after the truth and checking their facts. They're fair and brave in any given situation.
But I think, to be fair, they are on certain areas.
I disagree. I think that virtually anything you read in the press is written by people who don't know what they're talking about because it's. I mean, I have worked in the British media. I left college and worked for the Sunday Times. And I saw it there. You know, you see people like David Leppard and Nick Rufford. Thursday afternoon, go off to their contacts with the intelligence services, and then they come back with loads of stories. You know, it's easier than working for a living, isn't it? Just being spoon-fed. And we do know, for example, when we expose books, fireflies and whistleblowers, the existence of two MI6 agents of influence. These people are not journalists. Their first loyalty is not to the truth, it is to the interests of MI6. And of course it works very well for them, as I say, because they get free copy. And they look like they've got this amazing access to the centre of government. And in fact they don't. What they actually have is a situation in which they're called by the intelligence services and told they're going to produce a story. They are encouraged, obviously, not to ask questions because the story is untrue. MI6 can't plug its real intelligence in the press because that would give away its sources. So they have to make it up. And in theory, of course, it's made up to show Britain in a better light, our enemies in a worse light. But of course, it's not Britain's enemies, it's MI6's enemies, which is a very different matter. And in a particular case that I followed through, I wrote an article in the Sunday Telegraph about Gaddafi's son becoming involved in laundering Iranian money. And of course, because suspicions may be involved in terrorism, I went and asked MI6 what they knew about this. And my opposite number there said, oh, you don't have to worry about this. Our information operations section made it up. I didn't even know they existed at the time. There is a specific section in MI6 that strategically places a copy of British newspapers that's made up. So, of course, they invite this agent of influence along. They give him the story. He doesn't have to investigate anything. Just got the story there. He puts this fact. But the editor's also an agent of influence, Dominic Lawson. So he makes sure he gets a good showing in the newspaper. So the story has been completely made up by MI6, in fact resourced to British banking officials, so there's no mention of MI6 in the story at all. He's then presented this back, we've been showing in the Sunday Telegraph. A month later, somebody was researching Gaddafi comes across this story. They don't realise it's all made up. It looks like all the facts have been checked in it, it's also certain. So they reproduce it uncritically. And then suddenly you have an apparent fact, but it's in fact a creation, it's a complete fantasy that no one knows. And this gives you an idea of how easy it is to manipulate the media. Now in addition to that, of course, the complex, the profile of journalists has changed over the years. It's much more established now than it's ever been before. And a lot of those people actually in journalism now don't actually know how to investigate stories. It's not that bad. Of course, there's no investment from newspapers in any kind of investigative journalism at all. They now invest all their money in buying the rights to DVDs they can give away with the newspaper. So it's rather surprising, isn't it, that when we have a leadership contest with the Liberal Democrats, that these organisations that invest no money in investigating information officially expose people for their sexual practices and so on. And again, it's patently obvious that this is coming from the intelligence service. For reasons we probably don't understand,